Hello YouTube. I got this kitchen knife from a Japanese sushi restaurant, and they asked me to sharpen it for them, and if they like the result of sharpness, they will give me all their blades, and I will sharpen all of the blades for them, and I will get paid for that, so that's really nice. So I will make this a nice and sharp blade again, and make sure it has a nice polished bevel, but now it's just horrible. It cannot slice paper right now. It's not a knife. And meanwhile, I also need to resharpen these because they have some minor edge problems. Nothing too big. I will not use the 400 stone for this. See, it's really sharp. Just has a minor reflection on the edge, on the belly. This one likewise. These are just really sharp. This one has convex too much because of all the stropping, so I need to reprofile this a bit. The bottom of the edge is not dull, but this part won't shave hairs anymore. This part is still good, so this one will be a quick reprofile. Well, the stones that I'll use are the stones I'll use for this knife are the 400 stone, the 1000 stone, the Naniwa Chosera, the Naniwa Chosera 3000 stone, the Shapton ha-no-kuromaku 5000 stone, the Naniwa Snow White 8000 stone, and the Shapton ha-no-kuromaku 12,000 stone. To give this blade a nice polish and make a good example of what I can do for them. I will not use all these stones for all these knives, especially not the A1. I will only go to 3000 grit, then strop for this particular blade. For this one I will move up to the 12K I think, but I will start at 1000. Alright, let's start the sharpening. The beautiful thing about these hard sharpening stones are that you don't need to soak them. I'll just spray some water on it, and it will take some of the moisture, especially these high grit, or I mean low grit stones. These kind of rough stones will take some water, and I will have to spray it a few times, but that's okay. Alright, and we don't want a big secondary bevel on this, so I'm going to make a little bit of a convex bevel on this, because this steel is not particularly great. So for the sake of edge holding, I will give it a small convex. I will not film this whole process. I will just show you every time I'm finished with one stone. Alright, we're done with the 400 grit, and I've deburred it to show you the sharpness, 400 grit. I haven't tested it, so sharpness of 400 grit. Deburred. Well, that's a lot better, right? Do you remember what it was used to be before the 400 grit? And this is only 400 grit and then a few strokes over leather to deburr it. This is pretty amazing. It's not strange that 400 grit was the highest grit possible in Europe for many years. In well, I don't know exactly when, but I believe in the Middle Ages 400 grit was the highest grit, and they had to shave with that. Alright, now we're going to move on to 1000, and I will show you when 1000 is finished. Alright, this is the Chosera 1000 stone. This already feels a lot smoother than, more smooth than the 400 stone. And you can also hear the difference. I also use less pressure on these higher grit stones than I use on my 400 stone. I need a even lower grit stone. I'm looking at ha-no-kuromaku 120 grit right now, but I'll have to do some research on what low grit stone I can get. Maybe I don't need to spend much money on the low grit stones, because that 400 stone is really taking a lot of time for these really damaged blades. Alright, I will stop filming and show you the results of 1000. Alright, deburred 1000. You really actually don't really need much sharper than this for regular cooking. But for sushi, you need to go sharper than this. Sushi is quite hard to cut because it's sticky, and also it looks more delicious when the fish is cut very clean. This is my first time sharpening the Bug River Canadian Special. I bought this from a friend, and he already gave it a nice geometry, which I was really content about. So this is my first sharpening, and I must say this knife is really comfortable to sharpen. The geometry of this knife is very nice. It has a very nice feeling to it to sharpen this. It's very easy to sharpen. Very easy. Very nice. This is a easy to sharpen knife. This is the Chosera 3000 stone. And this is my favorite stone. It's, you hear it? Really smooth. Alright, I will show you the result. Alright, I'm done with the 3000 stone, and I've already stropped my Fallkniven A1. This knife is done. I'm not going any higher than this grit because it's just not necessary for this kind of big survival knife. Doesn't need to be any sharper than this. So, well, this is the result. Question is, does anything need to be sharper than this? I don't think so, but we like to, right? Alright, the kitchen knife with a small convex bevel. T-bird. Very nice. We could actually already strop this, but for the looks, I'm going to polish the bevel a bit higher. This Shapton ha-no-kuromaku stone is very smooth. This is really like gliding on ice. Really nice feel to it. I really love this. I really love these ha-no-kuromaku stones. I think they're a bit harder than Shapton even. So yeah, I will show you the result again. Alright, I finished on the 5000 stone, and that's the end of the line for the Bog River Bravo 1. Doesn't need to get sharper than this. It already has a mirror polish from it. Already stropped it. From 5000K I mean 5K, 5000 grit, I stopped using the black compound and only used the Bog River white compound. My girlfriend always finds it very attractive when I have these shaving spots on my arm. So I do it for her, you know. Alright. Oh, of course, the kitchen knife, which already has a polished bevel now. Really sharp. And we'll take this knife and the Canadian Special to the 8000 grit. For today I will skip the 12K because I don't think for this kind of soft steel and for this kind of outdoor knife it just doesn't add any value. So I will proceed to the 8000 stone and then I'll stop. Also quite important is when I'm done with sharpening, I always leave them to dry in a sunny spot. I first wipe them off with a towel and then I leave them to dry, because when you put these away wet they will crack. You really have to care for these stones. Naniwa Snow White is a beautiful stone. I love the white. It's a bit softer than Chosera, and it's a bit softer than Shapton, but I really like this stone. And yeah, the white color really lets you see the slurry you're creating. This is just a polishing job. This isn't sharpening anymore. I'm using the Shapton case as a standard because my rubber stone stand is somewhere else. And you don't have to be careful with this kind of grit, because it will only take off a very, very tiny portion of the edge. This is more of a polishing stone than a sharpening stone, so you can mess around with the angle without fearing too much. Of course, you don't have to put the angle like this, because it will dull very quick. But you can go flat on it. Look, that's giving a very nice polished apex. Alright, I will continue a bit and I'll show you the last stropping process. Alright, and to show you the kind of polishing level that 8000 grit achieves, what's good visible on this Canadian special, because I gave it a full convex instead of the secondary convex. It already had a full convex, but I kept it. And you can see how nicely polished it is. And after stropping on the white compound, Park River white compound, it will even be more pretty. And this doesn't really need a lot of stropping anymore. Just a few strokes. Doesn't look more pretty, right? But scary sharp. And this is not stropped yet, but to give you an idea how sharp the 8000 is. Sharp, really sharp. And now I'm going to strop this. That is a highly polished bevel. Looks really nice. I think they will be happy with the results. And I gave the knife back its tip, because it didn't really have a tip anymore. And yeah, these guys are used to the factory edges. When you send your knife away to a resharpening facility, I know what that's called in English, but they always sharpen it with machines, and it always has a secondary bevel. So I think they're quite happy with this. This will take the sushi a lot better, I believe. Hair popping sharp. Yes, I think they will be happy. And this is one of their cheap knives. If they like it, they will send me their expensive knives to sharpen. And as you can see, they have already experienced hand sharpening themselves, because there are scratches all over the blade, especially on this side. But well, yeah, I'm curious to see the other blades, and I might make a video about them or not. I don't know yet. But yeah, well, this is scary sharp, and I will give this one back to them and await their answer. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed.